2019 Fat Bob with the 114 114 cubic inch engine. You might recognize it if you look at the headlight. It's kind of funky looking. This is a new motorcycle offering for Harley Davidson in the last couple years, and we're going to be test driving it today. Right away, what strikes me about the bike is the style. It looks a lot different than normal Harley, which is why I like it. I'm not really into the big, huge cruisers. So looking at this bike and the way it looks and the fact that it looks awesome and mean are exciting to me. There's a couple things on it that really strike me. I love the rear tire. I like how the fenders look chopped. I like the blacked out components. Not everything is chrome. And I really do like the headlight. I think the headlight has a nice look to it as well. Some of the other things about this bike too that are striking me immediately is the size of it. It's not the huge traditional Harley Davidson that you normally see with the bags and everything else. This is pretty sleek, pretty cut back, and really does look nice, doesn't it? I see some adjustable suspension on the rear. I have no idea what the front forks are. It's got dual rotors in the front, a single rotor in the back. It's got Harley Davidson's signature belt drive, and it has their signature overhead pushrod V-twin. Unfortunately, the folks at Harley did not give me a lot of specs. In fact, when I asked questions, they said, "We'll tell you when you get back from your ride." So that kind of stinks. But again, a quick internet search revealed it weighs about 730 pounds, I believe. So it's not a very light bike. For the size, you'd think it'd be a lot lighter, but it's not. Of course, your foot controls are forward, so you know they're going for kind of like the cruiser style. This is kind of weird how this license plate sticks out. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it's on a spring hinge, so it bends. It just kind of looks weird. Have a license plate just sticking way out, but I don't know. Let's take this baby for a spin, shall we? I like the seating position immediately. Super fat looking bars too. Seating position is nice. I'm straight up, but again, I am a little crunched, but I'm tall, so that's what you get. No key on this. Keyless fob. Fob's under the seat right now. We click on the ignition and we'll start it. Starter sounds like it's out of a Ford pickup truck. It's got that big when it starts, so we can hear that. My leg is getting hot from the pipes. All right, let's get out of here. So from what the salesman told me, this bike is Harley's sport bike right now. This is the bike that they want people to buy that want to drive fast and go into a sport bike situation. So we'll see if this lives up to my expectations. I did find that I can use this gauge obviously as a tachometer, but also the speedometer is down there as well. So the tach is nice. I kind of complain about not having tachs on bikes, so this bike has it. Forward foot controls too, you got to get used to that. Here we go. This is a heavy bike. You can feel it. The geometry on this bike is nice, but it's heavy. The suspension's a little tight. It's not as cushy as I would have expected, but this is, again, their sport bike offering, if you will. So I can understand why they're doing that. I do like the mirrors. They're nice and tight to the bike, and the riding position is kind of nice. The foot controls are slightly forward, but not as forward as a full-on cruiser. It has the classic Harley sound and immediate throttle response as soon as you hit the throttle, immediately. So that's nice. Permission granted, sir. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of the front brake being the rear brake being so far forward on the pegs. Okay, let's see how this baby goes. We're gonna take off. Get a rolling start, second gear. She's got good pull. Not blow your socks off, but not bad. Again, this is really my first time riding a full-fledged Harley Davidson. I had a Buell Lightning 2000 Millennium Edition, if you will, and I enjoyed that bike a lot. It was fun to ride. This bike kind of feels like that, but it's not as fast. Doesn't have that same pop right off the line. On the dashboard, I've got very small speedometer, so I can kind of see that as problematic. But I understand why they're doing the tachometer in the gauge, because this is designed to be more of a sport bike. Little gear indicator as well in it, which is nice, and the fuel gauge kind of overlays everything. So they got a lot of stuff going on in a very short period of time. So the blinkers on this bike are rather interesting as well, because they've only got them on the sides. I don't even know how to cancel it. I guess it'll cancel itself, huh? Okay, thrown into the twisty there, just one twisty first twist of the day on this bike. Sounds and feels pretty decent, pretty respectable. The road manners going into that corner were pretty good. But you can feel the bike's weight. The geometry of this bike leaves a little to be desired. I feel like it should be a little bit tighter into the curbs. And on this bike, you're sacrificing some comfort as well as really rideability for power and handling. So when you do that trade-off, you expect the bike to give a lot in the braking and power categories. So far this bike, not bad, but not anything to write home about. That's full throttle. Just kind of meh. And it's bumpy, that's for sure. It's very bumpy. Yeah, not bad though. For my first experience on a Harley, I'm not 100% disappointed, but I can't say that some of my stereotypes I had going in are still there. Riding position's kind of nice. Arms are bent a little bit. I think if you were a little shorter, you might have more of a stiff arm, but it's kind of a neutral plane, so that's not bad. Your feet planted, I don't know if you can see that, but they're planted slightly in front of you. So your shifter peg is also in front, so that's not bad. That's for comfort. Very odd road noise on this bike. I don't know if it's the tires or what it is, but it's kind of like a whum 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 whum. This is a demo bike, so I mean it's probably been beaten pretty hard. The bike shimmies and shakes like crazy. Feels like I'm riding a weed whacker. A lot of vibration in the bars. A lot of vibration. But I'm sure there's some tweaks you can do and things you can do to make it behave a little bit better. Again, this bike, the price of this bike, $19,000 almost, plus or minus a little, depending on what options you get. That's a premium. That's a premium. So understand what you're getting into, I guess, would be the thing to say. The suspension's nice on this bike. I expected the suspension to be slightly softer than it is, but it's not bad. Somebody had to take a pit stop. Yesha. As far as flickability goes, I would give this a 7. 6.5. I'm gonna give it a 6.5. The bike's weight is apparent, so when you're driving you can feel it. The bike's weight is there. I don't know if you can hear the engine noise, but this thing makes a terrible racket. Poor people living on the demo route. There you go. Yesha. Yesha bub. Classic Harley sound. It's kind of hard to get comfortable too. My butt is, the seat's got a curve to it, so my butt is kind of sitting right in the back of it, and makes it so you're not going to move around, which I guess on a sport bike is kind of what you want, right? But the disadvantage to that is where you sit, that's where you stay. There's no shifting position. So like on, for instance, on a bike with a flat seat, you could sit down in one area, and if you start getting a pressure point, you can just shift around a little bit. Not the case with this bike. You're kind of stuck where you're sitting. And there's a lot of vibration. Again, never ridden Harley before, so I'm not really sure to gauge this. Is this bike just being the sport bike it is, or sacrificing comfort? We're gonna stick on another bike when we get back, maybe compare it. But a lot of vibration, a lot of rattle. Quick though, right off the line, quick. So it's got a little torque there. Okay, I'll see if you can hear that. Ready? I don't know if you can hear that. It's pretty loud. I don't know if it's the bike. It's the sound of freedom. These trikes always seem to hold the entire pack up, so who knows. So as far as the brakes go, the fork is a little soft, so I'm not sure if you can dial it in at all. I do see, I don't know if that's an adjustment on the bottom, but it's not as it's not super harsh. So when you hit the brake, you do get a little front end dip. But the brake pedal itself, very firm. So when you grab for the handle, you're gonna feel the firmness. I mean, it's there. It's not mushy. Some of the brakes on some of the bikes nowadays are you grab it, you hold it, and it's a little soft. This is not the case. This feels actually like an older car without power brakes. Try to open it up a little here. Everybody else has the same thoughts. Wow. You get up to the higher revs, man, this bike feels like it's coming apart. Very heavy vibration. So, overall impressions, I would give this bike, if I'm thinking about how much it cost and if I bought this and how much I just spent, I'd probably give this bike a 1 to 10. I'd probably give it a 4. Probably give it a 4. All right, I got to shut my camera off because Harley said no filming when you come in here. So thanks for riding and party on, dudes.